Have you visited Austin recently and are thinking about making a move to Austin? Or maybe you've had a lot of friends move, or maybe you've got a job offer recently. Well, in this video, I'm gonna go through 6 reasons not to move to Austin. So many people come here for an event, fall in love, decide to move here, and these are things they don't think about before they get here. So I'm gonna give you 6 reasons. If you stay till the end of this video, I'm also going to give you 3 reasons you should move to Austin. So we'll go ahead and jump right in. Before I do, this is my YouTube channel, Austin, Texas Area Living. Please subscribe, please like this video, give me some comments, give me some feedback, and tell me some reasons that I might have missed in this video. Let's go ahead and get started. So the very first reason you should not move to Austin is if you don't like driving in traffic. Hopefully you can avoid it by choosing somewhere to live close by where you commute to, or maybe you work from home, but really there's no way around it. You're going to have to drive in traffic in Austin. And so we have some mass transit, but not a lot. And so, there's going to be a place you need to get to that doesn't have mass transit available, and there will likely be traffic on the way. So the reason that is one, we've had a very fast growing population in the last 10 years, as well as we have some constraints. We have 3 north and south major arteries that run through Austin: Mopac, I-35, and now 130. And those do a pretty good job of getting people from north to south, but we do have a river that runs right south of downtown. And so we are constrained by those crossovers over the river. And there are some initiatives in place. I-35 is getting expanded, but as we have more and more cars on the highway, it's just really congested. We aren't that big of a town geographically like Dallas or Houston. We aren't as spread out, we're more condensed. So you won't drive as many miles, but you'll probably spend just as many minutes in the car, moving at a lot slower pace. So traffic is something you have to contend with. We do have a train that runs from Leander all the way into downtown. So if you move out by that train, you could consider that as an option, but it doesn't go all places yet. And we do have a bus system in the city of Austin. But for the most part, there's going to be a place you need to get, and it's going to need to be in a car. And so you'll just need to take that into consideration if you're moving into the city of Austin. The second thing, and most people would not believe this is an issue, but it is the allergies. I know every place has allergies, every place has trees, but the allergies are extreme in Austin. And I didn't expect that when I moved here. I had some seasonal allergies, but nothing like what you experience in Austin. And so you need to be prepared for that. I've learned since living here, since 2017, we have allergy seasons. We have all different types of allergies, and I think your body kind of gets worse and worse as they continue to adjust to the allergy seasons, and all kinds of weird symptoms. You have your traditional symptoms like watery eyes and sneezing, but there's really some weird non-traditional symptoms I experience, just being tired or feeling dizzy or feeling nauseous. And so I'll usually use a website like KView. Our news channel has an allergy forecast with different ratings, and if I'm experiencing anything like that, usually I'll look and I'll be like, oh, mold is high today, or oh, we have ragweed season going on. Allergies are pretty extreme here. One of the big seasons is actually the mountain cedar season, and it runs from about November through January, February timeframe, and we have all these mountain cedar trees, and they literally explode with pollen. And there's videos if you Google mountain cedar tree exploding, and a lot of people are really sensitive to those. So it's during the holidays, we experience that season, and it can be pretty intense. So if you're someone that has allergies or sensitivity to allergies, then you might want to look into that before you move to Austin. It's definitely, I don't think, something that people think about. If they're just visiting here, they might feel a few symptoms, but not anything big. And when you get here, it's a whole other game. So you have to be prepared for that. Okay, this is actually going to be 2 reasons, but we'll start with the first one. Number 3, we don't really have 4 seasons like you do on the East Coast. And so if you're someone that likes seasons, if you really enjoy fall, if you really enjoy a long winter, or even a longer spring. Austin's not like that. We really have two big seasons, hot and cold. And then we have two mini seasons, a tiny little fall and a tiny little spring. And I like to call our fall the second spring, because a lot of times we get through that hot August and then everything blooms again in the fall. It's almost like spring. It's really weird. So if you're someone that likes the traditional 4 seasons, then Austin's not the right city for you to live in. And some years will be more extreme than other years. Last year, 2023, was a super hot summer. And that actually is my 4th reason, is the heat. It is extreme. It's really hot here. And it starts right about now, which is May, and it goes all the way through the end of September, early October. And especially July through September, it's brutal. It gets really hot, several days over 100 degrees. And so I tell a lot of people that move here, we kind of do the opposite here. Like during those hot times, I like to be indoor, have the AC on. I'm kind of hibernating for the summer. And then whenever it cools off is when we actually go outdoors. So a lot of times during the winter, I could have dinner outside all the way into early spring, because we'll have some really nice warm days during that cool season. So if you're not a person that likes the heat and maybe you visited during South by Southwest in March, or maybe you visited during ACL in October, you need to come here in August and really experience the heat before you decide to move to Austin, because it can be pretty extreme. And, on the opposite end of that, we do have some extreme cold spells. A lot of times they happen right in the middle of February. A few years back, you might have heard that we had a really bad freeze. The power went out for several days. So you do have to be ready for the cold. It just doesn't last for an extended amount of time. So the heat is definitely something you want to be ready to contend with. Make sure you're prepared for it. And if you don't like the heat, you're probably not going to enjoy Austin in the summers. Okay, the 5th reason is if you're someone that doesn't like change. Maybe you visited Austin in the 80s and the 90s, and it was a small town. It was still getting its footing. It was a college town. It started to have a tech scene. But that's not what Austin is like today. We've had a lot of people migrate into Austin over the last 10 years. We have a lot of tech companies, and we have really become a city. And it's continuing to change. It's affected everything from the culture, the mass transit, the traffic, the food scene has changed. I know now, I used to 5 years ago, I would never make a reservation for dinner. Now if I try to go out on a Friday and Saturday night, it's like I can't even get in anywhere without a reservation. So things are changing. And if you look at the city line downtown, we still have skyscrapers growing up. We're not growing at as fast a pace by any means, but the city is still changing to the people that have moved here and the influx of people that are come in from different areas. And so if you're someone that doesn't like that change, or if you like the way Austin used to be, then it's not the right place for you, because it is becoming its new culture, its new city. So that's a reason to not move here. Okay, lastly, number 6. The 6th reason not to move to Austin is if you think it's going to be cheap. I have people that relocate. I'm a real estate agent. They come in all the time and they expect the cost of living to be way less than wherever they're coming from. But there's a few things they don't take into account. The very first thing is they think Austin is the same price as all of Texas. Austin is probably one of the most expensive places in Texas to live. And so it's not going to be as cheap if you were moving to Houston or San Antonio or Dallas or a small town anywhere in Texas. And so you really want to figure in your cost of living. You can watch my video that talks about cost of living in Austin, but it's not as cheap as you might expect it to be. Another hidden factor with cost is property taxes. And that's something, we don't have a state income tax in the state of Texas, but we do have much higher property taxes than other states. And so if you're buying a home, or even if you're renting, that property tax is going to be kind of factored into what our rent is here. We're still relatively affordable compared to California, New York. I moved in from Hawaii. So it depends where you're moving from, but you just want to make sure you're prepared with some of those hidden factors. The third hidden factor with cost is Some employers might not pay you the same as if you were working for that same employer, let's say in Virginia or California. So I know I had an employer when I moved into Austin that was headquartered in Virginia, and because I lived in Texas, they were going to give me 90% of my pay, my base pay. And because they think Texas is a cheap place to live, but they didn't factor in that Austin is more expensive than anywhere else in Texas. So you just need to look at the salary compared to the cost of living and make sure it's really going to be enough to support you here in the great city of Austin. So that's my 6 reasons. And as I said, I'm going to get into 3 reasons you should move to Austin. And I will start with the very first reason, and it seems really silly, but if the city's calling you, it was for me. I had wanted to live here for many years. A lot of people do visit and fall in love, and I know that sounds like I'm just making that up, but I've had many people tell me I was visiting for a conference or I was visiting for a festival, and I like the culture, I like the people. We have very friendly people, very open culture, and I started to think about moving here. And so, if it's something that just you can't get off your mind and you keep thinking you need to move to Austin, it might be worth a try. That's what I did. I don't regret it at all. So if the city's calling you, why don't you come here and move here and see if you like it. The second reason, and it goes right along with that first reason, is the vibrancy. And that's often what people comment on, and it's something that's maybe felt more than that's tangible, but some of the things that contribute to the vibrancy: very outdoor nature life. People love to go to the parks, the green belts, the rivers, and you'll see people out and about in nature all the time in Austin. Also, there's a lot to do, whether it's farmers markets or festivals or live music, outdoor restaurants. You'll see people out and about. All of that contributes to the vibrancy of the town, and it's often why people do fall in love and why Austin is calling them. And so if you felt that when you're here, probably means you should come and live here. And then the third is jobs. My 6th reason was the salary might not be enough, but we do have a lot of jobs options. We do have a lot of entrepreneurship, business networking, startups, tech companies. And so there's a lot of job opportunities. I help people all the time that are relocating in for jobs. And it has slowed over the years, but there's still a lot of job opportunities in the city of Austin. And so if you have an opportunity or you want to make a change in your job, it might be worth looking at the jobs that are available here. So that is it. Hopefully that helps you with your decision. I know for me, it took me a while to make my decision, but again, it just kept calling me. I had to get here, and now I am really happy about that decision. If you have any questions, whether it's a place to rent, a place to buy, or you just want to talk about the city of Austin, talk about areas to live, feel free to reach out to me. My real estate team is Hutchison Property Group, and our phone number is 512-309-1991. It's all listed in the description, but feel free to reach out and I'll try to help you as best as possible. Thanks.